Biom, Tafshin Lamed Aleph Ois Yud Beis. Let's try now and recap or re-understand what we just learned in the previous Ois about the difference between if it's my essence or if I can internalize it intellectually. Let's look with the mashal of the Alter Rebbe of the three different types of or the various types of those who are inside the king's, in the king's, by the king's table and outside of the king's table. Let's look at those who are outside of the king's table. Let's first look at the kelev, the dog, the klavim. What did the Rebbe explain about the dogs? A human being, by nature, has a concept that moyach shalit ala lev. What's the meaning of moyach shalit ala lev? My heart wants certain things. What does my heart want? It wants something that I desire. It's for me. There's no explanation. It doesn't make sense. That's what I want. By a person, moyach shalit ala lev, the brain says, no, this isn't good for you. No, this isn't what's the proper thing for you, whatever it might be. So just because I want it, it doesn't mean I'm going to do it. A dog is kuloi lev. Not only does his heart rule over his brain, there is no brain. It's only what I want. There is nothing else. Like the Lashon and Zohar, have, give me. It's only whatever comes to my heart, whatever comes to my feeling. Now, what's the difference between feeling and understanding? Again, the idea that feeling means it's about me. What's good for me, what I want. Understanding means I understand something that's outside of me. I understand something deeper, something greater, something different. And it's the same thing with the avadim apchusim. These slaves that are arechaim, that they're working, why are they working? My desire, my want is to do what's good for me, is not to serve the king. That's where my want is, and that's why I'm not by the king's table, because I have no connection to the king. I'm only serving the king because for me, I'm going to get punished if I don't. So therefore, what ends up happening is I look at the greater good that I'm going to get out of serving the king is the fact that I won't get punished. But it's all in order to avoid punishment. If I can somehow get away with it, I'm not interested in serving the king. Then we go into the king's table. So that's where there's the me. Then we go into the king's table. Who's in the king's table? Those who are connected to the king, those who want the king, and that's why the king is making the party for them, meaning the king wants to give them hashpah because they're connected to the king. In general, everything comes from the king. Everything comes from the Eibishter. But those who understand and appreciate him, they're the ones who actually are receiving. The other ones, it's all about what I'm getting. Here, they want to get from the king. They want to be connected to the king. So there's the avadim hachashuvim, the important servants. What are they? They're servants. What does it mean they're servants? They're servants, they're not children. They're servants because why are they serving the king? Because there's something that tells them this is the best thing. They want to serve the king. They want to serve the king, but it's not that they are one with the king. They want to serve the king because they recognize the greatness of the king. That's the avadim achshuvim, and therefore they do it b'kabbalah sale. They don't really understand the greatness of the king, but they recognize it. Then you have even more than that, the ministers, and there's even the greater types of ministers that they understand all about the way the kingdom is run. They appreciate intellectually the beauty and the amazing aspect and the reality of the king, till you have the greatest types of ministers that they're involved in running the kingdom. By them it's all the king, but they're not one with the king. They appreciate how great the king is. Either they feel how great the king is, or even greater, they understand how great the king is, or they have like an intense understanding in the greatness of the king. That's why, so it's something outside of them that's making them do it. That's all still not the Jewish people. The Jewish people are called banim. Banim atem lavaya lekechem. We're not servants. We're not even ministers, we're children of Hashem. A child is one with his father. Why does a child want to do what his father tells him? Not because of Kabbalah soil, because he realizes that that's the best thing to do, or because he understands it's the best thing to do, or because he appreciates the greatness of his father. When this child does what his father wants, it's because he is one with his father. And that's the idea of the Jew who comes from Pnimius Haratzon, where his essence is Ana Nasiv Malka. I want the king not because of any outer things, and that's the concept of Bechira, of choice. Chelki Avai Omra Nafshi, my neshama chooses Hashem because that's its essence. Now, as long as there's anything else, any other reason which is causing me to serve Hashem, that means there's still not the complete oneness between me and Hashem. It's still not the ultimate of Yud Aleph, but it's only once there's the complete oneness of the choice, that's when it's there. But that's still not enough. And here we get to something which seemingly doesn't make any sense, and it's impossible even to grasp how you can reach it. Fine, I can understand that as a Jew, I'm part of Hashem, and I can even just feel that choice that I'm not willing to do anything to separate myself from Hashem, and I'm willing to do anything to connect to Hashem and to connect to the essence of Hashem. I don't want anything else, not even Dain Gan Eden, Dain Olam Haba. To a certain extent, can understand it even if we don't fully appreciate that idea, but just that all I want is just to do what Hashem wants. I want it, Usher, I want it. But that's still not there. Because then, yes, we said earlier that when it comes from understanding, then that's not choice. That's true. But when it remains only because I am part of it, it still only is a natural thing that comes from me, from my real essence, from my true essence, but it still hasn't become fully internalized the idea that this is because it's Hashem, because I don't understand it. What did we say earlier? Moyach shalit al halev. The brain rules over the heart because the heart is me. The brain is giving me the understanding and internalizing the aspect of something that's outside of me. The true oneness with Hashem can only come when it also becomes internalized and understood even by my seichel, that even my intellect, which naturally wants only what's good for me, but that intellect is influenced by the essence of my soul, that it understands the essence of Hashem and the greatness that there is nothing but Hashem. This is the idea, by the way, of what the Alter Rebbe took with Chassidus Chabad. When the Alter Rebbe took Chassidus Chabad, the Alter Rebbe did something impossible. The Alter Rebbe did something impossible. What did Chassidus come to do? The Baal Shem Tov came into a world where people were only doing things for themselves. Even the greatest scholars, it was all about intellect. If I understand, then I'm going to do it. And I only do things coldly because of my understanding, because of my appreciation of it. And therefore there's the lack of the complete unity with another Jew, and therefore the complete unity with Hashem. Came the Baal Shem Tov, revealed the essence of godliness in the world, so that people serve Hashem because of Hashem. That seemed to be the ultimate. Came the Alter Rebbe and said, yes, the Baal Shem Tov revealed it, but now I'm going to reveal the inner essence of what the Baal Shem Tov taught by taking that itself and bringing it into be able to be understood and grasped in an intellectual way, taking the essence of godliness and making it part of the person internally to the extent that his mind can also grasp it. Using that essence of the Baal Shem Tov and getting to the pnimis, the inner essence of what it's all about. Now that's what it means when it says in the pasuk. David HaMelech says, "Ki Elokim Yoshia Tzion v'yivne Arei Yehuda v'yashvu sham v'yeshua." What happens? The Medrash gives a mashal. The king got angry at the sheep, and he He scattered the sheep and he broke down the barn, etc. And then he felt he was appeased. He regathered the sheep. He rebuilt the barn, but he forgot the shepherd. That's what it means. David HaMelech says, reminding Hashem, what about me, the shepherd? The shepherd hasn't been remembered. David says, what's going on? Let's try and understand it in the simple terms. What's Galus? What's Galus? We had a Beis HaMikdash, we had the barn, so to speak, the house, the place where we lived, where we can connect to Hashem. We were all gathered together in Eretz Yisrael in the Beis HaMikdash. And then there was Galus. Galus means we're scattered from the Beis HaMikdash, from Eretz Yisrael, from the place of our essence, where we're able to have an essential connection with Hashem. What's the Beis HaMikdash? What's Geula? In Galus, we don't feel who we really are. It's covered over who we really are. We're scattered. When there's no Beis HaMikdash, there's no place where we can connect to the essence of what a Jew is, of our essential connection to Hashem. Comes the concept of Mashiach, that the Eibishter builds the Beis HaMikdash. He gathers us together. We're now connected to our essence. Says the Rebbe, but there's still, by definition, it's essence. And it remains in essence. It doesn't make sense that now it should be able to be internalized. In order for it to be internalized, that essence to be internalized, because essence is the opposite of being internalized, as we said, because the moment it makes sense, it's because of a different reason. It's not because of the essence. And that's what there comes then, David HaMelech, Lamnatzeach LeDavid Lahazkir. You need the Roya, the shepherd. The shepherd is the idea of a Rebbe, the idea of Mashiach. And like it says in Tanya, that as long as I'm connecting, as long as I am part of Hashem, my essence is part of Hashem, to make it be able to be revealed in me, that I should be able to connect to it, I need a Rebbe. I need a Rosh B'nai Yisrael. Mashiach is the one who brings it into the world internally, even though it doesn't make sense. And that's why the idea of Mashiach as a teacher and a king, to take the greatest revelations which are above understanding, which naturally they don't come down, but lahazkir, to go back to remembering, meaning to go to the very essence, which enables it to be internalized through Torah, through understanding, through learning about it, that the Raya, the shepherd, can bring it down internally, that it actually comes down also in a way of intellectual, in a way that it's able to become part of us internally as well, part of the world internally well. For that you have Mashiach, for that you have the Roya, the shepherd, the Rebbe, who brings it down, who takes the highest essence, the Melech, and he brings it into Rav, he makes it become a teaching. Yes. And even more than that, moreover, Lahazkir, the Rebbe explains, without the Roya, the main thing is lacking. Because yes, the essence is revealed, but the main thing is lacking, because the main thing is to bring it down. And as the Rebbe says, that the Torah that we learn now is Hevel. It's emptiness. It's like empty compared to the Torah of Mashiach. But the Torah, because the Torah of Mashiach, why is it? It's not just Torah. It's not just learning. It's taking the essence and bringing it, internalizing it to the extent that we can become one with the essence in a way of becoming essentially connected to it, but in a way that it becomes internalized, and for that you need the Raya. But that's why there has to be a special Lamnatzeach LeDavid Lahazkir. It's not enough. It doesn't happen naturally. Even when the Geula comes, because the Geula comes means the essence of Jews is revealed. But in order to bring it down and to internalize that, for that there has to be Lahazkir, Lamnatzeach LeDavid Lahazkir, to remember the shepherd, which is the main thing, that the shepherd should be understood, remembered, that he also brings it in order that he should be able to bring it down internally.